Hey, what's up, everybody? JayC here with another TNI live stream and back at it on another Sunday evening. Let's see who is in the house starting off tonight. Supersonic Station. Kyle. Kyle is giving Shung-Chi a thumbs up. Darth Vader Hobbies. Let's see. Supersonic Station says the signed Batman sold out in 59 seconds and managed to score one, thank goodness. Toymaster 54 is in the house. Welcome. Yeah, Supersonic. I uh, I was able to grab one as well. I wasn't expecting two when they went up for pre-order on Friday. I was like, because when Todd did his video the day before, he made it just sound like it would be something that was random. Like you'd randomly maybe get one of the signed ones, and like there was 1,000 of them. So when they went up, both of them. And I got to be honest, I was like, man, $80 for a signed autograph one or $50 for the non-signed autograph one. I was tempted to go with the non-autographed one, but I ended up going with the autographed one instead. And then it like sold out right after I managed to grab one. So I guess I made the right call. Both are sold out now, but the regular version did last a couple of hours. Let's see. Sean wishing everyone a happy Labor Day. Same to you. I, I debated on whether to do a live stream tonight because I wasn't sure, people doing Labor Day stuff. But it's been raining all day here, so I figure what the hell. Henry, what's up, man? Henry G is in the house. Iron Lion. Do I buy Mezco figures? Marvel Mezco figures. Occasionally, I don't buy any Mezco figures on a regular basis, but I do, I cherry pick a few here and there. So, like, I have, like, the Iron Man 112 collective figure, which, I thought was a really nice figure. Um, Probably, I have a couple Captain America figures, um, but that's probably about it. And then I probably have maybe a few more DC than I do Marvel. I've probably picked up more DC than I have Marvel, and I picked up that Crow figure that they put up for pre-order this past week. I ended up getting that one. Capona Bears in the house. Greetings. Articulated Doom. Supersonic Station says Sentinel has no movement, just tracking number. Same for me, but it's still telling me possible arrival date is Thursday. So I mean, it's coming from Georgia. It looks like so. If if it goes out, it should be here in a couple of days. So I don't know. I'm not like it's not like oh yeah it's definitely going to be here this coming week, but I'm hopeful that maybe it'll get here. And some people are apparently either have already gotten like movement on theirs or actually received them based on images that have started to surface online today. So I am whether it's this week or next week, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed it's this week, but I do think it's going to start shipping out here to folks very soon. So if you haven't seen it, these are some images that popped up online, and forgive me, I don't know who the original source. I don't know if it's more than one person or what. People just started passing these around on social media, and they didn't give credit to the source. So I don't know who these actually. What lucky soul actually has gotten their Sentinel already. But these images, this shows you how it's packed. And then this is a really cool image, um, with the Master Mold head on there and with the other two figures, giving you an idea of how big that thing is. So that is definitely, a pretty cool looking figure. Eric Stream 21 says he's in Texas and hasn't gotten any updates. Roman, what's up? Well, that's what mine says too. But you got to watch. Not only do you that's just kind of an estimated date. What you really want to go is make sure you're looking at the details. When you go into the FedEx app and look at the details, and you'll see like if it actually has started to ship, it'll note that in the in the detailed section. So like right now, all mine essentially says is they've received the information from Hasbro, which means it hasn't actually shipped. So that that ninth date is really kind of based on nothing at this point. So hopefully Hasbro will start getting them out to people again. There seems to be some indication that they have already started. So, and I don't know how they're working it. I don't know if it's they're going in order of when people actually backed it. I didn't back mine until towards the end of the campaign. So if they're going to go in order of when people backed it, I'd probably be one of the last people to actually get theirs. Well, I mean, Jerry, it looks based on the FedEx, it looks like it's coming from Georgia, so you might, I mean, depending on when it goes out, but once it goes out, you probably won't have long to wait. Kyle, good, love the gunslinger spawn skit. I appreciate it, man. I've just been trying to, I mean, by the time I review something, I know there's like 50 million reviews up there already. So I just been trying to throw up some reviews here and there of stuff that I've been interested in and just try to make it fun. The reviews get a couple 1,000 to 2,000 views at most on my channel, so it's not like they're highly viewed. But like you said, I've just been that I like the skit I did on the GI Joe one. I thought that one actually came out fairly decently. So I can't guarantee every review is gonna have a skit like that, but when it strikes my fancy, I've been trying to add them in there. 9-7 says profit, but again, make sure don't get excited. When you're looking at that app, don't get excited. Basically, my warning is just don't get excited until you actually start to see movement, until you see it's like left the FedEx distribution center and is on its way to you. Then you can get excited. Then whatever date that they give you for arrival is going to have much more meaning. Right now, it's just Hasbro basically generated the tracking numbers with FedEx, and so they're showing up in the system for most of us. Again, some people apparently have started to get them, but Eric Stream, will I review the Sentinel? Most likely, I will do something. Whether it's show it off here in a future live stream video or full on review. But yeah, I definitely will be talking about it and showing it off when mine arrives. Michael says he's got some of the What If figures. Yeah, both What If and Age of Apocalypse figures are starting to show up. People are getting their hands on those this past week. Hey Bean, yeah, I don't think Hasbro sent anything out to anybody. This is all on the FedEx app, so if I don't know how soon I don't know how soon it will be when Hasbro actually emails people from when they actually go out, but my guess is FedEx will update on their app sooner than Hasbro will email you. Sentinel versus Gunslinger Spawn. I have a feeling Sentinel would win that one. Michael has Bloodsport and Peacemaker. I have right now I have Harley Quinn and Bloodsport. Those are the only two Suicide Squad figures I've gotten so far. Thoughts on Baba Booey? I'm not sure what that's in reference to, so you'll have to clarify. Rufo waiting on a Razor Crest update. I mean the Razor Crest, the Razor. Razor Crest, it was, that project launched after the Sentinel, so I mean that should be the next one, but I wouldn't expect that to start shipping out probably until maybe November December time frame. Everett says, "Does anybody have the NECA Mirage turtles, the ones that come in the blister card packaging with dioramas and April O'Neil with the Mauser 3 pack?" I have the figures. They're opened. I opened them a long time ago, but I have those figures. I know who he is. I know he's from Howard Stern, but I'm just not sure how he pertains to tonight's live stream, or if that was just a general. Yes, I used to watch. I used to listen to Howard Stern a lot when I was a kid. I don't really listen to him much anymore. If only I need to get a horse. I need to get like some Western backgrounds and stuff. Big boy, should I get the McFarlane Suicide Squad King Shark Build-A-Figure or the McFarlane Go Label Complete Gold Shark? Well, I would say that depends. So first of all, can you find the Gold Label one? It's Walmart, and I don't think it's terribly easy to get. And then two, do you have any desire for the other figures, the other regular Suicide Squad figures? If you only want King Shark and you can find it, then I would say go with the Gold Label. But if you're interested in the other Suicide Squad members, then that's probably the better route. I mean, the only difference I think is they have different shorts, and the Gold Label one comes with, I think, a severed arm. So it's not really a big difference between the two. But like I said, the Gold Label one I don't think is terribly easy to get your hands on. So no, I mean NECA sends out shipping updates periodically, and to sum it up, everything's delayed. So I don't know, exactly when that's going to arrive. But I just with that stuff, I just basically it'll arrive when it arrives. But I'm not going to sit here and like worry about it because I know a lot of that stuff is held up in the shipping ports. What, YouTube decides to die? What happened? What's up, Leonardo? I'm doing well. Hopefully you are as well. Jack, always good to see your good reviews and live streams. Like seeing an old friend you can always count on for information. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching, Jack. I appreciate you guys who actually watch that stuff far more than probably you guys appreciate me putting it out there. So anybody get that Batman figure besides Supersonic? I definitely this is one, I I'll be the first to say that I'm a little tired of Batman figures from McFarlane, but this one definitely I ended up getting. Just noticed my camera's not working here. Hold on 1 second. Let me do it. All right, there we go. So yeah, the Batman figure. This one, an art and a Todd McFarlane art inspired Batman is actually one of the type of figure I was hoping we'd get when the license was first announced. So I definitely decided to grab this one. I will say the price is a little hefty, $80 for Todd's autograph, but I was a sucker and I went with that one. Not that $50 is a whole lot cheaper, but I do like the figure. I like the idea of the two capes. I like the diorama. So I splurged and got myself one off of Target on Friday. It says that cape is insane. Oh, Snap ordered the regular version before it sold out. Target sent him a notification. Yeah, I was not surprised it sold out. Even with the high price, I figured that was a figure a lot of people were waiting for. So um, I was a little surprised the autograph. I was actually thinking the non-autograph one, the cheaper one, was going to sell out before the autograph one. Now, granted, I think they only had like 1,000. They only did somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 of the autographed ones. But I was really kind of expecting the cheaper one to sell out. But I guess they just had a lot more of the cheaper one than they did the autographed one. What's up, Sci-Fi? And I'll be curious. I mean, I assume these are going to be sold in physical stores, though. I wonder if they'll have. I kind of wonder if they'll have any of the autographed ones, or if it was just that was it on the autographed ones. I kind of feel like it's probably that was it with the autographed ones, since there was only 1,000. But it'd be interesting to see if any more of those show up. Alex, what was I able to secure a Target exclusive Merrick X? I did not. I didn't actually try. Has it sold out? Um, I've got several X Wings already, and it was like over $100. So I passed on that one. But I saw it was available online, so I guess I could have, but like I said, I just because I have X Wings, and well, it's a cool figure. I'll probably get the Black Series one, or actually, I do have the Black Series one on pre-order from Target of Merrick, Antok Merrick. So, um, but I did not go with the Vintage Collection one. Jerry says, thought McFarlane would just send you an autograph. I probably, when I see him at conventions, I could probably have him. I've even thought about that, like taking like a comic and having him autograph it when I do like have done interviews with him. But I always end up forgetting to take the comic with me, bring it with me or what have you. So I have not. I don't actually. I don't think I have his autograph. So I guess this will be my first. But yes, I guess I probably could have gone about getting it cheaper. MK Solid. No, they did not list a release date on the website. Like the other stuff that went up for pre-order yesterday, like the Batman, the Unmasked Adam West Batman, and that My Hero Academia figure. Those had release dates of October listed, but the Batman they did not list a release date. So I don't know when that's going to actually ship out to people. I'm guessing probably later than October since they didn't list that date, but I don't know. Sorry about your spawn, Kyle. I don't like to do pre-orders in general, but I've been finding myself more and more just because it's easier than having to hunt around for the stuff later on. So, but my thing, it's not even so much about like it doesn't show up. It's just like I forget about it. Like I pre-order something and then I forget about it because, it's so long from when you pre-order it and when it actually ships. And so when you start doing that a lot, it's like it's hard to keep track of it all. So I'll sometimes get something that's like, oh man, I forgot about that. And then it's like, all right, it's on the way. I have unless unless he has that from somebody within Hasbro, I would probably take that with a grain of salt. But I don't know. I think the stuff that we've seen listings for is well planned. So unless Target or unless the major retailers refuse to carry it, my guess is it'll get released in some way. But they plan. That stuff that we've seen listings for is probably already, most of it at least, is probably already well into production phases. So um, my guess is it would get released in some shape or form, but we'll have to see. I'm still pretty excited for GI Joe next year. And again, we have things like the Amazon series and stuff as well. So there's still some entertainment properties out there. Bartman, I can't say I'm a huge fan now. There's listings in the Target system for Origins figures that are listed as movie, so that's all we really know at this point. General assumption would be that they're based on movie figures, but you know, that's like I said. All we know is there's some Target list, some systems in some listings in the Target system that say Masters of the Universe Origin, He-Man, and Skeletor movie figures. So um, we'll have to wait and see. This coming weekend, next weekend, I think it's next weekend, is PowerCon, and Mattel will be showing off new product there. So hopefully we'll get some good updates on Masters of the Universe for both Masterverse and Origins next weekend. Chris says he tends to agree Snake Eyes flopping will have some effect on the classified line. Long term, maybe, but we're talking about stuff that, again, has probably already been well into production phase at this point. So long term longevity, we'll have to see. But will we still be getting GI Joe figures 5 years from now? I don't know. That definitely, I would say, could come much more into question unless there's entertainment properties pushing GI Joe. But I think overall, I think the classified line has been fairly successful. So just current sales hopefully will be enough to keep retailer interest in the line at least for a little bit. But again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll just have to drink it virtually. Yeah, I like this the Spikor in the second wave. Definitely looks like a solid figure. I like them all so far. I haven't had a huge problem with any of them. Um, but yeah, that Spikor is probably one of the cooler ones in the second wave. I like the Man at Arms. I think the Man at Arms looks really good. Beastman's probably my least favorite in that wave, but overall, I think they're pretty good. Good. If I had a chance, would I pick a Haslab Sentinel or Galactus? Which one do you think has the better design? That's a tough one, but I gotta tell you, based on like those images that just surfaced today, um, this one, that looks like a really cool figure to me. I mean, just like the metallicness of it, and that master mold head actually looks really good on the body there. So that's how I'm going to display mine, is with the master mold head, and then I'm going to use the other Sentinels that I have, the Toy Biz and the Marvel Universe one. Those would be my regular Sentinels for master mold to command. So that's pretty much how I'm going to display the figure. I wish there was a way that you could keep the figure lit up like that without like draining the batteries. Like I wish they would include like an AC plug port or something. because I would love to keep the figure lit up like that all the time. But if you kept that on all the time, it would drain the battery so quick that you'd be having to like change your batteries every other day. But so that Sentinel right now is looking really cool to me. So even more so than the images that we've seen for Galactus. So I'm kind of right now, at least, I'm leaning towards the Sentinel. Well, how would you plug in a USB port? I mean, again, there's not like a USB port on it. I mean, if I could plug a USB port in, then I could just plug that into the wall. But like like I have like you can't see it, but I have the DC collectible Batcave playset that has all the lights on it. Now, technically, they made it to be battery powered, but the way they designed it, you actually plug in. There's like an actual AC port. So I just ended up plugging it in with an AC port so that I can keep it lit all the time, at least until the light bulbs burn out. But that that makes that playset a lot cooler because you can keep the back computer lit and everything on it all the time. But most things like that don't have that ability. So I mean, if you're really into electronics and you could probably jury rig something, but that gets a little bit beyond my skill level. Where did I display my Unicron? Right over here. It's hanging up from the ceiling. I kept it in its robot mode. Originally, I was gonna put it back in planet mode, but I ended up keeping it in robot mode. So, but I've posted pictures of it up on like my Instagram and stuff. But it's actually right over here, hanging up from the ceiling. Don't. No, I don't think. I think it has like a glow in the dark effect, if I remember correctly, but I don't think it has any actual electronics. I won't say that 100%, but I don't think it had any actual electronics to it. Am I excited for Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus? It looks interesting. I'm more excited for the new Boba Fett series and the next season of Mandalorian, but I definitely will be checking out um, Visions when it comes on. So I'm just curious. I know I saw one of you had gone to see Shung-Chi this weekend. Did anyone else go see it? Big thanks to Capona Bear for the super chat donation. Much appreciated, brother. Yeah, glow. That's what I thought. Glow in the dark. What are my thoughts on Super 7 releasing Ultimates of all these random properties? Should they focus more on properties they're already into, or do you see that as a net positive? Uh, I guess from a business standpoint, it may the more big licenses you can grab, the better. Like where I see Super 7 going is I see Super 7 trying to get a foothold in places like Target and Walmart. And in the toy industry, that's how you essentially grow. You're very limited in size if you can't get a foothold. You can't get shelf space at places like Target and Walmart. So I feel like that is based on things that I've been seeing, and they've already started to develop a presence at Target stores. They're even that if you go look at that Geek Out thing that they're doing, Super 7 is one of the companies that actually list as having some type of product that they're revealing. Now, right now, I think mostly it's just reaction figures that you're seeing carried by Target, but that I feel like is their overall goal. And so I suppose you could argue that, when you grab some of these licenses, it might, somebody like Target and Walmart might be interested in carrying Simpson figures. Um, so that's where I see the big advantage from their perspective. For me personally, I haven't watched an episode of Simpsons in years, and at $55 a pop, I personally have little interest in buying Simpson figures. Now, that's not to say that there aren't plenty of Simpson fans out there who would be very much interested in buying them. So I assume they've done the market research to suggest that they'll be able to generate enough sales to make it successful. But so your question really kind of comes down more to business end of things than personal desire. But for me personally, most of those licenses I have like I would buy Simpson figures before I'd buy SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, I've watched maybe 2 episodes with my nieces once of SpongeBob SquarePants. So um, but I don't I guess to answer your question, it's probably more advantageous for the company's overall survival and growth and everything for them to do licenses like that. So I don't have a problem with it. Don't I love going to see an MCU movie and then find out how inaccurate your Marvel Legend figure is? I haven't seen the movie yet, so don't spoil. But um, yeah, I mean, Hasbro will say it's because they base it on early artwork. So I'm sure that's why it's not. If it's not accurate, I'm sure that's why. Dante, what are my thoughts on What If, and when do I think we'll see the new? Well, the new wave's already starting to hit. I mean, I see on social media people getting their hands on it every day. So they're definitely starting to get out there. I've heard comic book shops have started to get them. Overseas places have gotten them. So any day now, on when we'll see them. As far as my thoughts on the show, there hasn't been an episode that I thought, oh my god, this is horrible. I think they're all, they're fine. I thought the first episode was the best. None of them have really necessarily knocked my socks off. Again, I thought the first episode was probably the best with overall story and kind of explaining, really showing how it veered off from the original storyline. The others, the T'Challa one, I mean, it was a nice tribute to, Bozeman, who, has passed away. So I thought that was kind of a fun episode. But story wise, it was kind of silly. Like the whole galaxy was great because T'Challa became Star Lord. Yeah, I mean that's a little far fetched, but I thought it was a fun episode. Seeing Thanos as a good guy was kind of funny. Um, the the Loki episode again didn't knock my socks off, but I didn't think it was bad. And probably this week's episode with Doctor Strange was my least favorite of the ones that we've seen so far. I didn't really like that one a whole lot. So, um, I mean, it wasn't like horrible, but it was again my least favorite of the ones that we've seen so far. Now, I have been impressed with like a lot of the voice cast that they've managed to bring back. I mean, I knew a lot of the regular guys were being brought in, but like the T'Challa episode, like they got Kurt Russell for like a whole what 2 lines or a 2 word line. I mean, to me that was like wow. Uh, I it's almost like it makes me wonder if they're going to do a continuation of that episode down the road or something. But I was really surprised that they got Kurt Russell for that little itty bitty line, and then getting Michael Douglas in for to reprise his role as Hank Pym. I was a little surprised to see that as well. So um, definitely, I thought that was interesting. T'Challa says, kind of sad Shung-Chi released so late. The figures I've seen are in the clearance section at Walmart and it's on Targets, but perhaps a resurgence of Vengeance could resurface. I don't know. I mean, yes. definitely those released much sooner than from the movies released than I'm sure Hasbro had wanted. But I can't honestly say I haven't seen the movie, so I'm really not the best person to ask yet. So maybe I'll wait till I've seen the movie to see if it really like gets me pumped up. But the figures, and the same thing goes with the Eternals. It's not that they're bad looking figures. I think the Eternal figures look, compared to what they're based on, I think they look really really good. It's just the source material I don't think is nearly as exciting as other characters in the Marvel universe. So I don't see those as being hot sellers. And again, will the movies release change that? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But I think from collector standpoint, maybe kids, you know, are more encouraged to buy stuff after they see the movie. But I feel like adult collectors, if you didn't get the Shung-Chi stuff when it came out, I find it hard to believe that most adult collectors are going to go back and get them. Well, they might on discount, but if they were at full price and they passed on the first time, then I feel like even after they see the movie, even if they like the movie, not necessarily going to encourage them to go buy the figure. So I don't know. I assume you're talking about what if. So, yeah, again, the way I would rank them is the first episode with Captain Carter. I thought was the best, just best storyline, overall storyline. And I mean, granted, I'm a Captain America fan, so that might have played part of me liking that one the best. But I really felt like that story was just laid out the best. The probably the second best episode was probably the Loki one. It was kind of interesting to see, that was kind of a I wasn't expecting that ending to be honest. So that was kind of interesting. Again, the Doctor Strange was my least favorite, and the T'Challa one. While I didn't think the story was that fantastic, it was a nice tribute to Boseman, and was kind of a fun episode. So I'd probably put that one third. Um, but like I said, none of them have really like just wowed me, knocked my socks off. Like, oh my god, this is like so awesome. All of them have been watchable. All of them, as a Marvel fan, I've managed to enjoy them for the most part. But why are there no figures of villains from No Way Home? Probably because we haven't really seen the villains other than Doc Ock, which we only saw like a week ago. So I'm sure there will be a Doc Ock figure released at some point, but you know, Hasbro can't release things that might spoil the movie before the movie, reveals it. Kyle says, "Don't skip it. It's going to be the best Marvel movie according to Insider." I assume you're talking about Eternals. Seeing your conversation, I, I don't think it'll be the best movie, but I think it probably has a chance of being interesting. You know, I mean, seeing the Celestials, if we're really going to see the Celestials, I think that could make for an interesting story. To me, right now, the MCU is just like, it's still just such an unclear picture of where they're going to take us that it's hard to get excited about anything. And I'm just speaking for myself, but um, yeah, I wasn't even super hyped from the Spider-Man trailer. I feel like that movie is being way overhyped by people based on nothing but pure speculation. I mean, everybody thinks Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in the movie, and maybe they will. But my God, if they're not, even if the movie is still good, people are just going to hate it just because they weren't in the movie, because everyone's built up this expectation that they're going to be in the movie. So we saw that happen with WandaVision. So I don't know, but I I would like to get more of a feel for where we're going to be going, who the new main bad guy is going to be. Is it going to be Kang? Is Kang going to be the next Thanos? Is that the buildup? Is that where we're going, or is that just going to be one of many different subline stories going on? Um, are we going to get a new Avengers team? I feel like without the Avengers to kind of anchor everything, it's not as, to me, it's just not as cool. Um, so, I know some people have theories that we're going to get Thunderbolts, or we're going to get Dark Avengers, or we're going to get this and that, but I mean, all that's just pure speculation at this point, and it's just not really clear where we're going. So, and maybe maybe something in Shang-Chi gives us more of an insight. Black Widow didn't, but I mean, Black Widow was really just kind of a throwback. It was really, if you really think about it, it was really a story meant to be told in the previous phases that they were just kind of playing catch up with. X-Men versus MC Fantastic Four and MC. If they were gonna do something like that, I think it would be more like X-Men slash mutants versus non-mutants. So like Avengers, Fantastic Four, what have you. But I really, I don't even know. I can't even tell. Like if I was hired to write, how do we introduce the X-Men to the MCU? I'm not even sure how a good way of doing that is. And do you just completely start from scratch, not even mentioning the Fox universe, or do you try and incorporate elements from the Fox universe into the MCU? I honestly don't know what the right answer is there. I mean, I still would love to see Hugh Jackman, you know, reprise his role as Wolverine and make his appearance in the MCU wearing an actual Wolverine costume. I mean, that's something I personally would like to see. I don't think it's going to happen, but that is something that I would definitely enjoy seeing. I wouldn't even mind if they piped over most of the established X-Men that they had in the Fox universe. I mean, and we know Deadpool's going to be piped over, but Deadpool's kind of his own unique thing. So, but I will say, as far as Deadpool goes, I don't mind if Deadpool obviously continues to have his kind of solo, silly type movies like we've seen with the Fox universe. But I would actually like to see Deadpool incorporated into the MCU. I would like to see him pop up in like an Avengers movie or something along those lines, and have him, obviously still have kind of his humor to him, but also just be a little more serious as well. So, I mean, that's something I would really like to see, not just see a Deadpool movie, but see Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds interact and be a part of the MCU with, like, in an Avengers movie, or Fantastic, well, not, I'd rather see him in an Avengers movie, but something along those lines. And I hope we see, whether it's still unknown whether we'll see, Netflix Daredevil, or at least Matt Murdock, appear in the Spider-Man movie. I think we will, but at least as Matt Murdock. But I would like to see, Charlie Cox, brought into the really brought into the MCU, and continue on his Daredevil character in the MCU, either as a Disney Plus series, or a movie, or what have you. But that's something that, again, I would be interested in seeing. Yeah, I'm excited for I mean, I love the first two Blade movies, the original first two Blade movies. The third one was not that good, but the original two Blade movies were really good. So I'm hopeful. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be Wesley Snipes, but I'm hopeful that they can kind of continue that with the new Blade movie. Reynolds got awesome roles: Green Lantern, Deadpool, Pikachu. The thing about I like Ryan Reynolds, but he no matter what character he's playing, he plays it the exact same way. He really only has one type of character he can play, and it just happens to be perfect for Deadpool. But it doesn't matter what movie you watch him in, he essentially is playing that exact same character. And it's funny because remember Ryan Reynolds was in that third Deadpool movie. Yeah, Van Wilder. That was the first movie I saw him in. Am I gonna watch the Peacemaker series? I'll probably check it out. I mean, it's on HBO Max, so I'll probably check it out. I'm not like waiting on with anticipated breath for it, but I'll definitely check it out. All right, well, I wanted to head over to the review station to do a quickie review because this fellow showed up today on my doorstep with the new Legion figure. So this is actually the only figure in this wave that I'm planning on getting. I've not really gotten into the AOA stuff for action figures, so I'm not really planning on getting the other figures. But I did want to get Legion because Legion's a pretty important mutant character, and this is basically how he appears in the regular Marvel universe. So I ended up getting this guy. But and overall, I think Hasbro did a pretty good job with this one. I would have liked to maybe seen some additional accessories. Well, let me adjust my camera. Trying to get rid of that bullseye. So, basic figure, but overall looks like, looks like Legion. Good job on the head sculpt. Hold up. I got a new camera over here, or a different camera from the one I normally have, so. Alright, get the focus in. So, I like the eyes. Like he's got one eye that's open wider than the other. I hadn't noticed that in the promo pictures, but I like how they did the eyes. It's very Legion-like. They got the hair dead on. Even have this little strand that kind of curls over here on the front. He's got a smirk. So basic body, but and again, it would have been nice if they had thrown in some accessories. I mean, we got an extra pair of hands, and then we got the Build-A-Figure piece, which I won't use because, like I said, this is the only figure that I've gotten. He's got good movement. He's got joints are kind of gummy there. Definitely feels like this joint here could break really easy, just like tear. And I gotta tell you, the other day I was moving some figures around, and I moved my Citizen V and I took it off the shelf and I just set it down, and then when I went to pick it up, the left arm literally just fell off for no real reason. Like it, I don't think anything happened to it, so I'm baffled for why the arm just essentially broke off because I picked up the figure. But um, some of the plastic on some of these figures has definitely gotten on the cheaper side of things, and these elbow joints definitely feel very gummy. But other than that, I think this is a pretty solid looking figure. Other than, like I said, some type of effects to mimic his psychic powers would have been nice, but otherwise, if you're a fan of Legion, I'd probably recommend you get this one. So I got this one. Target actually, this is the only figure in the wave that Target's been shipping out, but I went on and got him, since this was the only figure in the wave I wanted, I went on and just grabbed him off Target's website. And like I said, he just arrived today. And then while I got you here, I also just want to show off my new hooded Cobra Commander head sculpt, thanks to Artman Customs, who made this up for me. Since Hasbro's never going to give us one. I'll lighten it up a little bit there. But yeah, so he did a really nice job with it. And like if you have like a suited body like a Marvel Legend figure, you can put it on, you can put the head sculpt on it. Be like Cobra Commander in his early days. But again, Artman Customs, he's on Instagram. You should check him out. He does some pretty cool work. He also is the one that did the MCU, made the MCU modifications to my US agent for me. But yeah, so thumbs up to Legion if you're a fan of Legion. And again, right now he's actually available on Target's website. These elbows though, really gummy. Well, that pretty much covers it for my agenda of things I wanted to talk about. If there's anything you guys had any questions or anything on your guys' mind you wanted to throw out there. Charlotte says that hooded head sculpt looks dope. This needs the hit. Yeah, hit up Artman Customs. I don't know if he actively takes commissions, but ask him, see if he'll make one up for you. I mean, he'll charge you, but not, his prices aren't too bad. Wednesday, or is it Wednesday? Yeah, I think it's. Let me double check that. Wednesday or Thursday? But I think it's Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. Wednesday's the next Star Wars live stream, so. And I know they're going to show off some new vintage collection figures, so I don't think the focus of the live stream is going to be the Haslab Rancor. And only reason why I say that is because for the Marvel and the Transformers, they did actual dedicated where the only thing they talked about was the Haslab. And since I'm pretty sure they're going to be talking about at least some vintage collection stuff, they may mention it since they've technically already announced it, but I don't think they're going to actually, the main focus of this week's live stream, I don't think it's going to be the Rancor, and I don't think they're going to launch it like like this week. So I won't, that's again just based on what they've done with the previous two Haslabs this year. But vintage collection, probably some store exclusives, because there's always store exclusives when it comes to Star Wars. But that's what I think the focus of this week is going to be. Eric, where am I going to put my Sentinels? Well, I have a shelf up in my main office upstairs that is where my current Galactus and my current Sentinels stand, and so that's where I'm going to put it. That's where I'll probably end up putting Galactus as well. I only got one, man, and sorry, I'm keeping it. Yeah, I only got one Sentinel, so I unfortunately don't have any extras to sell. I'm sure that there will be people selling them. Unfortunately, that they will cost more than they originally did on Haslab, but my guess is there will be people who sell them. Jerry says hit up Boog. He's got five. Is he got all? I mean, I know a few people that got like five, but they didn't get them to sell. They got them because they wanted to army build the thing, which is crazy to me. But if you got the money and you got the space, I say, hey, go for it. Did it? Has anybody backed the Transformer Haslab? That one seems to have stalled out right now, at least at around 5,000 last time I checked. But I still, just like with the Sun, or just like with Galactus, I think it'll pick up steam at the end. Redskin fan. What's the size of the train? I think it's about the size of like the Devastator or the Predaking combiners that they did the past couple of years. So I think that's probably around the size that Victory Saber is. Hooded Cobra Commander holding out for GI Joe Haslab. I I mean, I would definitely be interested to see what they could come up with. I just right now, I don't think it's in the cards. Maybe, but unfortunately, I just definitely not this year. I mean, I feel like so. At what point? How many Haslabs can they fit in 1 year? We've got three this year. We had three last year. So first of all, if they're gonna do a GI Joe one, I almost feel like they'd have to do it instead of either Marvel Transformers or uh, or Star Wars. I mean, I guess there's technically nothing that says they couldn't do four Haslabs, but eh, I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I mean that's kind of an interesting question. So questions I have like with the Galactus. So I mean, we probably will never know this, but I would love to know what the breakdown is between how many people in the United States out of all those over 30,000 backers or yeah, what let me peek over here. So the final tally on Galactus was 32,343. So I would love to know what the breakdown is between how many of those 32,000 people were based in the United States and how many of those came from outside the United States. Just out of curiosity, that's a number I would love to hear. Again, I don't think we ever will, but I would love to know what the breakdown is between, because I feel like those big giant boosts that these things get at the end definitely come from them adding in their overseas sales. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't people who hold out till the end, because I in fact am one of those people. But I also feel like when you see those huge jumps, a lot of that comes from them just starting to put in those international sales. So I would really be interested to know what like the breakdown is out of those 32,000. How many of those people were actually people in the United States, and how many were outside of the United States? And like something like that Transformer one, I gotta feel like that one might definitely have more people outside the United States back it than those in the United States, since those are not characters that have really ever appeared in the United States. Quinn, what's up, man? Quinn says he pulled the trigger. What was there doubt? Were you thinking about not getting it? Kyle says he would back a G.I. Joe Haslab for anything reasonable, but I would think the earliest we could expect something is quarter 3 or 4 of next year. See, but what is reasonable? Like, I mean, there's just no way they would do. We've talked about this before, but I just don't see there's any way they would ever do something like a flag. I don't see them doing anything for 3 3/4 inch. I just don't think they have enough confidence in 3 3/4 inch to do a Haslab for that. So if they did Haslab, it would likely be for G.I. Joe Classified. So what would be something that a lot of people, and I feel like it would take almost everybody who collects G.I. Joe Classified to be willing to back a Haslab campaign for it to be successful. So what is it that they could do that every a vast majority of GI Joe Classified collectors would be willing to get? There are a ton of things I could rattle off that would sound cool, would look cool, but then when it comes to actual practicality, where would people be able to fit it? How much would people be willing to spend on it? That's where you start to run into your trouble. I mean, just look at the Galactus and how many people were not terribly pleased with the 14,000 backer count and the $400 price. Obviously, more people than not were willing to back Galactus, but a lot of people did not like that. So, you take something, and GI Joe does not have as many collectors. There are far. I don't have exact numbers, but I feel pretty confident in saying there's far more collectors out there who collect Marvel Legends than there are those who collect G.I. Joe Classified. So how many people are going, of the people who do collect, you're taking a small demographic and then you've got to find something that a vast majority of them would be willing to back. And I just feel like when it comes to G.I. Joe, you're pretty much just limited to vehicles. And so, and probably at best you could maybe do a mid-sized vehicle like a HISS tank or I don't think they would do smaller vehicles like, because we've seen Target carrying like the Ram cycle. So vehicles like that, I feel like they would put out, if they were going to do that, they would just put it out at retail. So I feel like you're going up to something like a HISS tank, maybe. I feel like a Sky Striker would probably get to be too elaborate and too big and too expensive. Same thing with like a Cobra Rattler or things like that. So I don't know. When you think about it, setting aside just the knee reaction, oh, that would be awesome. What is it that you would be willing to spend, at least 200, maybe $400 to $500 on, that you would have the space for? And then how many other G.I. Joe collectors do you think would actually be able or willing to spend that same kind of money? Oh snap! Star Wars Black Series tested the waters with the snow speeder, which I eventually purchased. Well, that went on. I'm pretty sure that got discounted. But I mean, they really tested the waters with the Tie Fighter that they did, several years ago from the new movies. And I got that. I got that Tie Fighter, but it sits in storage now because I just didn't have the space for it, and you couldn't really display figures with it. So while I got that originally because I thought it was pretty cool, it now sits in storage because I don't have any space for it. And I didn't get the snow speeder. I thought it was a cool looking vehicle, but I ended up passing on the snow speeder because again, I just really didn't have the space for it. And what's the good of a snow speeder unless you have a 6-inch scale AT-AT to go with it? I mean, which I don't honestly see them ever doing. So I don't know. A 2-pack Mobat and his tank. Well, I don't think they could do them as a 2-pack. You can one or the other. I think if they were going to do a Haslab GI Joe, I think his tank would probably be the best option. It's bigger than say like a motorcycle. Um, you might be able to do it without it costing a super ton of money. Probably in the neighborhood of $300. Hopefully, you would include the driver with it. You could display some figures. You could have, one sitting in the back. You could have the one in the cockpit, and then you could have some Cobra soldiers, on the back of it as well. You might even do one of the more modern HISS tanks that have like the little, that they did. They had like the storage in the back where you could actually seat figures. The original HISS tank just had the one center, gun turret, but they did some actually some pretty cool his tanks towards in more recent years that actually was a little cooler design and everything. So you might do something along those lines. But then that gets into the question: well, if you do a his tank and you modernize it so it doesn't look exactly like the original his tank, is that going to piss people off? Are the purists not going to like it because it doesn't look like the original his tank? You know, well, and I'm sure there would be people who would still like it, but again, if you don't do it exactly as the original his tank, are you going to lose a bunch of people who don't want it because it doesn't look like the original one? I find that often to be an issue with GI Joe is if it doesn't look like the exact original, people don't want to buy it. We can just use the McFarlane Bat Truck for our Cobra. Oh my god, uh, that thing is just, I don't know. I honestly don't know who's going to be that interested in, but I mean, I don't know how much that's going to cost. Hopefully, it doesn't cost much more than $30, but uh, and he was like, when he did that video, he seemed like so excited about it, and I was just like thinking, oh my god, who wants a Batman monster truck? Um, I mean, I know technically it was something that was seen in the comics and everything, but everyone wants like a Batmobile, a classic Batmobile, or even one from the movies or something, and we get a monster truck. People need to think more realistic when it comes to the tiers from HasLab. People asking for Galactus chair and all the Fantastic Four is just ridiculous. We need to think more like Hasbro and realistic. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I mean, as cool as I would have loved to have seen it, I never thought we were going to see like Galactus's world devouring machine or his ship or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, there was just no way that was going to happen. I was surprised we got as many action figures as we did, though. Granted, keeping in mind one was essentially just a reissue with the Silver Surfer, and then we got the other two figures. But that's why I really wasn't expecting the fourth tier to be another action figure, because I think that just throws the price out of range too much. But you're 100% right. Sometimes, I mean, there are definitely things that Hasbro does that's kind of annoying and frustrating, but there are also many times where fans and collectors just, their expectations get so out of whack of what is realistic Um, that you know, I just I understand. I would love to see the world with a lot of these things, but I always try and look at it from a business perspective because I feel like you've got to keep your expectations somewhat realistic with a lot of that stuff. But yeah, going back to that was it the Batmobeast, I think is what it's called. That truck. Um, that was just funny to me. Quinn says this for the tier items for Galactus. I do think we should have had the Celestial head instead of a Doom one. Just saying. I love my idea. I thought my idea of the Celestial head was, and I truly thought that's what they were when I watched that interview that they did with Boog. I really thought that's what they were trying to hint at. I mean, but I know that Doomhead had to have been thrown in for cost reasons. I mean, again, they essentially just took a Doomhead they already had sculpted and they just sized it up, which I think makes it cheaper as opposed to if they had to take something that was just completely made from scratch. And so I feel like that's why they did the Doomhead as opposed to something like, I mean, even setting aside the Celestial, Galactus has actually taken his helmet off before. So if they had given us an alternate unmasked Galactus head, that would have been better than a Doomhead. But again, that would have required, I think, them making something completely from scratch that they really wouldn't be able to use again. And so I just think that was not, from a cost perspective, I just don't think that was realistic. So they threw in a fourth thing to kind of give us the fourth thing so they could tell us they gave us four things. But I really feel like the Doomhead was just kind of thrown in there as something cheap that they could do. The Silver Surfer, while it was a reissue, I totally understand that because I do understand that there were a lot of people who did not get any either of the Walgreens exclusive Silver Surfer figures. So for like me, and I know a lot of you out there who do have those figures, that was kind of like a worthless add-in because it's like I really don't need another Silver Surfer figure. But I also understand that there were many people out there who didn't have that figure, and if you're going to have Galactus, you really do need to have Silver Surfer. So they really needed to make that figure available again, and so that was really the best way to do it. So that one, while again probably was not as expensive for them to do as an add-on, I totally get. But the Doomhead, I think, was just purely uh, purely cost driven. The Mezco Dark Side is the best Kirby version out there. It's awesome. I like that figure. I got it's back there on the shelf. I got that's one of the few Mezco 112 collection figures that I have. And you got like I beam effects. Like one of the things I was kind of disappointed with the McFarlane Dark Side movie figure, the armored one. I had no interest in the unarmored one, but I got the armored one. But I would have liked to have seen like some I beam effects as opposed to that weapon that he used in the scene where he wasn't wearing the shirt. I think that might just be some of the photography. If you look, there's an image out there of like that somebody took of like a paint master of the Silver Surfer, and he looks much more silver. So I do think that's just the images. I agree. In some of those promo images they released, he looked very much like Iceman, not Silver Surfer. But I think the final version will look more silver um, when all is said and done. Jack, I find it weird that Hasbro hasn't said anything on getting Galactus 10,000 over the final tier. Well, I mean, they put out thank yous. Um, I think people were expecting Hasbro to throw in some bonus gift, in part because they did that with the Sentinel. But again, if you go back to what they did with the Sentinel, all they did with the Sentinel as a bonus gift is they threw in a second tentacle for the hand. You know, which is, if you really think about it, probably they should have included in the original offering, instead of only giving us one tentacle. So while they were able to say, "Oh, look, we threw in this bonus to give you to say thank you," what they really, they didn't have to make something new. They already were making the tentacles. They just essentially added an extra one for everybody, which is, again, being that he has the tentacles will come out of both hands, something they probably should have added to begin with. So I'm not terribly surprised that they don't have a bonus. And I guess, they could come out tomorrow and say, "Hey, we're going to throw in this bonus for you." So I'm not going to sit here and say that they're definitely not going to throw in a bonus. But if they don't, and I'm not really expecting them to, it won't surprise me. Caesar says, "I think the Doomhead wasn't planned and didn't expect to get that far. The same happened with the Sentinel and more not being physical and just a render." I, I definitely think, at the very least, they changed the order around of things. Because going back to the original live stream for when they announced the Galactus, when Jesse Falcon said he really hopes that the final tier gets unlocked because it's the coolest of the bunch. I really don't think he was referring, unless he was just being sarcastic when he said that. I really don't think he was referring to the Doctor Doom head. I think he was referring to the Morgue figure, which is, according to the Hasbro guys, is something he really pushed for to have included in the Haslab. So at the very least, I think they switched things around, and originally Morgue was going to be the final offering, and perhaps Galactus, or the Doomhead, was going to be like the third, or even, probably the third. I don't. I would have thought. I mean, you're right. When they did the Sentinel, they originally only offered three things, and then they had to kind of scramble to offer the fourth thing because they went through the tier so fast. But I feel like they would have learned from that mistake and at least had in place something that they could offer. So I don't think they had to, like, they just pulled the Doom out of their ass at the last minute. But again, I definitely feel like at the very least they switched things around, or something along those lines. Because I feel like originally, at least, the Morgue figure was going to be the final offering, and not that Galactus head. Bean says, "A lot of entitled folks out there too. You either wanted Galactus or you didn't. The stretch goals are essentially an add-on." And I agree with you to some extent. I mean, the fact is, add-ons are essentially there to entice people, but I agree. At the end of the day, I think you should probably be making your decision primarily on the main figure, the Galactus. Um, I have no doubt that we will get Star-Lord probably next year in the regular line, but the difference being that next year, when he's released, if he's released in the regular line, I'm going to have to pay an extra $20 for him. So I would have much rather had him included with the Haslab Galactus, so I didn't have to pay anything more for him. It would have cost more, but that cost would have been spread out among all of us so that none of us were specifically having to pay more money. So I get that line of thinking of, oh, well, I want, I would like to see more for my money. I would like to see, these extra figures. I think at the end of the day, Hasbro delivered, with the Morgue figure and the Nova alone, along with the Galactus. I think that was plenty. I mean, I think that more than justifies spending the $400. Um, and everything else is just gravy. I mean, like I said, that Doomhead has no interest to me. It will go in a drawer, and I probably never look at it again. But it doesn't bother me that much. It's not like I feel like, oh my God, I've been ripped off. How dare Hasbro, not give me something better than this Doomhead? Um, So I see it from both points of views, but yes, I do feel like sometimes people get a little, again, getting their expectations out of whack of what's reasonable. Um, yeah, I mean Firelord. What did I say? Or Firelord is what I would like to have seen. We got Nova and Morg, which I think are cool figures, and I think justifies the price. But I would personally, my favorite Herald is Firelord, and yes, I think we will see. I don't know this for sure, but I think based on clues and stuff, I think we'll probably see Firelord uh, next year released in the line. Oh, I said Star Lord. Sorry, I don't want Star Lord. I sometimes where it's like in my head I hear it and then I say something completely different. Like I don't know if you caught my news video the other day and I said Tom Hardy instead of Tom Holland, and I didn't catch that until after the video was already live, and I was like, why the hell did I say Tom Hardy? I not even thinking about Tom Hardy. Where the hell did I meant to say Tom Holland? And of course everyone caught me on my slip up there. When I mess up in a video, I always know that people will catch it in the comment section. I don't know if it'll be a full-on cosmic wave. Probably more likely. And again, this isn't based on anything I know, but just guessing, there probably will be like a second Fantastic Four retro wave next year. So I could see them doing Firelord, maybe Terrax as well, a new Terrax figure in that. But I definitely feel like we will get at least one of those two figures some way next year in the line, if not both. All right, it's going on 8:30, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But I am going to leave you guys a little tidbit of news that I've not shared anywhere else as of yet. Now, this is a rumor, not confirmed by Hasbro as of yet, but I wanted to go and let you guys know. I've been looking into what we might be seeing next year. So this is based on information that I've gotten, not 100% confirmed, but based on previous uh, information I've gotten, it seems very, very likely. But there should be an X-Men wave coming next year, a Marvel Legends X-Men wave, which that's almost a given. But one of the figures that, for me personally, I think based on my information, is going to be in that wave that I'm pretty excited for is a new Siren figure. So another member to add to your X-Force team, I would say, is where she would probably fit the best. Uh, so, like I said, rumor for now, but based on information that I've seen, I would say it is very likely we will see in the next X-Men wave a Marvel Legends Siren figure. So there you go. That's your. You guys are the only ones I've I haven't reported this on Marvelous News or anything like that as of yet, but just giving you guys a heads up. If not seeing anything for Banshee, a new Banshee, it's not to say there's not one coming, but nothing I've seen for new Banshee. But Siren looks like it's definitely going to be coming next year. All right, so like I said, I think we're going to wrap it up here, going on 8:30. But as always, I want to say thank you for joining tonight, listening to me ramble on here. As always, especially with it being Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend. Not Memorial, but Labor Day weekend. So really appreciate you guys checking in tonight. As always, guys, stay safe out there. Hopefully you had a good Labor Day weekend. Hopefully you had a long weekend. Hopefully you have off tomorrow. Hopefully you don't have to go to work tomorrow. I'll be working tomorrow, but hopefully you guys get to be off tomorrow. So, but as always, appreciate you guys joining tonight, and stay safe out there. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.